welcome you and all to another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast, where we talk about Latino everything. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Crispin Valentin. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Why? You have nothing to lose, lots to gain. Like this amazing story by Daniel Cortez, originally from Mexico. He's a realtor here in the DFW area, and he gave us some amazing jewels of what to look for when you're first purchasing a home, especially first-time home buyers, and also talked about his vegan lifestyle and some of the things he likes to do. So, amazing story. And now to the episode. Daniel, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. We like to be very transparent. The AC is not working and it's hot. So I appreciate you very much. Great pick in attire, wearing shorts. We're here going to be cooking from the inside, but thank you so much for taking the time.
Appreciate you having me.
Bienvenido. Okay, before we get started, of course, you already know, subscribe to the channel right now. Why? You're getting amazing stories, amazing content, amazing shorts all the time, and you're definitely going to be fulfilled some way, somehow. You're going to learn something new today because we're going to have a gentleman that's going to tell us amazing things. But before that, we're going to get to Preguntas al Chile. Remember, again, you got nothing to lose to subscribe right now, and thank you so much. ¿Estás listo? Are you ready?
Ready.
Corn tortilla or flour tortilla?
Don't judge me on this one, but I think corn. Hands
Corn.
Down. Depends on the taco sometimes.
Tacos. Yeah. We'll talk about here his food preference because we have something in common. And some of these dishes that I'm going to ask him, most likely you can make them some way, somehow, vegan or plant-based. Mm-hmm. Tacos or tortas?
Tacos. Hands down, yeah.
What is your favorite plant-based or taco that you like to, and where is it, from the house or is it a place that you like to go to?
Sure, yeah. So I think for me it has to involve some protein in it, and tofu is relatively available. Mm-hmm. At home specifically, it would be like you can consider it like a picadillo. And I always love to do that because it has a little bit of potato, carrots, but dress it on top. But if it's going out, I'm gonna give a shout out to El Palote.
You like that place over
Mesquite. There? It brings me home because of that arroz rojo and the frijoles. I mean, everything about it is.
Have you ever had Nuno's tacos?
I have. They're actually the same family. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the son.
Yep.
And have you ever salsa verde tacos? Mm-hmm. They have huitlacoche.
Really?
Yeah, they do. And they have nopales, and they have some bean ones, and they have mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah, I love mushroom tacos.
I like the whole food idea.
Yeah,
nothing too processed.
Nothing too processed.
Keeping it healthy. Yeah.
I've been staying in that lane for a little while. Sure. But again, tofu.
Yeah, nothing wrong with
Welcome.
That.
Yeah. Okay. So if you do a torta, mm-hmm. like if you want to make it more vegan, what do you like to put on that as well?
It's got to have some sauce.
Some sauce?
Yeah. I mean, it can't be too dry. It's got to be crispy, maybe a little sauce on top.
Oh, yeah. Calabacitas con elote or nopalitos con salsa verde o roja.
Can I ask how it's prepared?
Yeah. The best person that you could think that prepared it.
Yeah.
That's the person that way.
Normally, I would say calabacita.
Calabacitas.
Because I love the corn, too.
Yeah. My sister makes these freaking great calabacitas with elote and tomato. It's so freaking good.
There was this, what did you say? Sorry, it's called nopalitos.
Nopalitos,
sorry. They fried them up, but like como tiritas, really thin.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
It's over in Fort Worth.
I've seen it before. Yeah, it's almost like, you almost look like seaweed. That's how thin it is, but it's not.
Highly recommend that.
And they almost taste like they're raw, but they're not.
Yeah.
Some way, somehow they cook them. I don't know
con
how.
limoncito.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only way I really will fall in love with that one, honestly.
Gorditas o tlacoyos?
Gorditas.
I love tlacoyos.
Yeah?
Team tlacoyos, baby.
I don't have too many of those, so maybe if I get more exposed to it, I can change my mind.
Tlacoyos, the way that my family does it, they call it with gallos. Gallos is like chopped up peppers with onions y limon. Okay. And you put it on top. Oh. It's so freaking good.
Okay.
Delicious. Carrito, what flavor? ¿De qué sabor?
Naranja.
Naranja?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta do that one.
Horchata, Jamaica, tamarindo.
Jamaica
too.
Yeah.
Jamaica y limonada, bro, together.
Oh, yeah?
Game changer, by the way. Hey, go grab yourself right now. Agua, half and half. Agua, Jamaica, and half limonada. Mm-hmm. Put it all together. You're welcome. really need one right now.
Sometimes the Jamaicas are not too sweet. Is that why you like the lemonade? Or?
I don't know, something about like the citrusy mixed with the tart of the Jamaica. They just combine them together is so freaking good. I went to a pop-up. Shout out to my homegirl Bree, that she actually had pop-ups before, Chingonas only, and she had a lady that was making samawas, one of the vendors, and she had it in her menu. I'm like, let me try it.
Okay.
Recommended.
Okay.
Highly recommended. Yeah. Salsa verde, salsa roja.
Salsa verde.
Enchiladas or chile rellenos?
Chile rellenos.
Chile rellenos.
Yes.
What do you like to put yours, or where do you like to get it that they kind of stuff it
if
with?
If it's like a poblano, picadillo.
Picadillo?
Always. This brings back so many memories.
From Monterrey?
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah.
Is it one of the dishes, right? Staple dishes?
I mean, that's how I grew up, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Menudo, pozole. You can kind of sort of make them vegan. I know my mom does. Pozole with mushrooms and different things. Menudo, I've seen it. They use different stuff. Which one do you like better?
Pozole for me.
For you?
It's just the rich, el caldito, the flavor.
Yeah.
Can't
absolutely.
Get
Valentina, tapatio, Cholula, hot sauce, or tapatio?
Cholula.
Cholula?
Yeah.
Churros, flan, if you're able to find it, a vegan option?
I have very seldomly, but I would do churro.
I went to Hawaii one time, and this lady had a vegan spot, and she had flan.
Oh.
I swear I went like 5-6 times, and sometimes I ordered me 2 flans because they were really freaking good. The consistency, everything was just like almost exactly.
Yeah.
And they were so good, and I haven't found anything here in the DFW.
It is hard. I mean, you can convince me to like flan more because I just don't have it enough, but churros hit the spot.
Absolutely. Yeah. Favorite dish that you like to turn vegan? Which one is that? Or plant-based?
Yeah. I think for me, the stir fries.
The stir fries?
They're so easy.
Man.
I mean, so who knows? I mean, everyone out there, I'm sure you're getting home and you're tired, and just so easy.
Yep.
And good.
Yeah.
It doesn't require too much.
Doesn't require too much. It's good. You get the nice sauce and everything with your noodles and
or
throwing
rice.
Bok choy or some carrots or however you want to do it, or you either slice it yourself so pre-pack already. Man, just throw it in there. Delicioso, like my little nephew be saying.
Yeah.
Cuando quieres bailar, when you want to celebrate, dance, a little bit, go out in the night, cumbia, salsa, merengue, or bachata dancing?
I tried to do bachata. It's tough.
It's tough?
But I'd like to learn more, and so I'm like leaning towards that option just because I liked it when I tried it. It's a little embarrassing.
Salsa is harder, though.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Do you know how to do salsa?
I did a class.
Yeah?
That's as much as I got.
I get down, I'll start mashing the oh no, that's not
Wait, what?
That's the wrong salsa.
Hold on.
Just kidding. Conspiracy theories. Something that you heard one time, a conspiracy. Then when you heard, you're like, ooh, that could be true. Or like, that's like, could be potentially true. Anything comes to mind at first?
Not too much right now. I think the earth is flat. Just kidding.
Bro, don't get canceled immediately. Talk about kidding. Controversial stuff all of a sudden, bro.
No, nothing that comes to mind right away. But
anything with the vegan, okay, let's go with that.
Yeah.
People in general that you heard some misconceptions regarding veganism that or plant-based that people are like, totally got it wrong. Anything comes to mind?
Yeah, I think, I have a pretty good one. I think there's this like difference of being vegetarian or vegan.
Yeah.
But I do believe that when you do veganism, it's just a step more than that, because vegetarianism misses a few things that I think people don't understand or they just don't notice. And that's what I mean by controversial, because they think that it's okay, or it's like, hey, vegetarian could be good. But there are certain industries like dairy, eggs that still unfortunately provide, with those products, you get the negative things from that, and that would be numerous things we can talk about, but
proven scientifically, by the way. Nothing he's saying out of the ordinary. There's a lot of here the things that I hear all the time whenever I tell somebody, first of all, I don't know if you consider yourself vegan, plant-based. How would you like, do you care, do you have a preference for yourself?
I think veganism carries the ethical standpoint.
Okay.
And that's why I like it, because it sort of established the least amount of cause of suffering, or the least amount of harm, let's say. And that to me is what's really special about it. But plant-based is fine. if you want to imply that veganism is plant-based, that's cool too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the times when I tell people I don't eat any meat or whatever, their first thing is like, how do you get your protein?
Mm-hmm.
What do you say whenever you get asked that question? Because I'm pretty sure it comes around
I get
often.
it a lot. Oh, yeah. I mean, have you heard of tofu? I already mentioned it. The truth is, and go out there, study it. It's out there for sure. But there is protein in everything. But there is higher density protein in certain foods. And when you talk about food cultures everywhere, it's there. It's in your beans, your legumes, right?
Yep.
Very, very good rich source of protein. And additionally, from the smaller sources, that's around your meal, like your veggies and anything that surrounds your main source. So really, I think it's right in front of us. It's just you have to really have a balanced lifestyle.
Yeah.
You could eat Oreos and be vegan.
Yeah,
but
true that too.
There's no protein in that.
Be or two, but that doesn't mean there's any benefits to it or Oreos.
Exactly.
I kind of feel bad because I had a couple Oreos the other day.
It's all right.
Extra stuffy.
It's Friday. It's Friday. The AC's off. It's okay.
Oh, I was sweating them out today. I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
I was just getting prepared for today.
Yeah.
When you hear the word Latino, Latina, Latinx, what is the very first things that come to mind?
I think it just screams culture. It screams, big time culture.
Absolutely.
Right away, yeah.
Absolutely. Do you care if anybody calls you Latino? Do you prefer being American, Mexican, Mexican-American, Mexican with a little bit of a hint of Texas?
Yeah.
What do you prefer?
I don't have a dedicated preference, but it's cool to express like where you're from,
right.
Or at least like I enjoy it. And if you're like, oh yeah, you're Latino, and that can stir up conversations or create conversations. I wouldn't say I have to be called that.
Do you ever get into where like, no way you're Latino because you look very bonito, clear eyes.
Yeah, thank
you. Monterrey, a lot of people are like that. People don't understand. The other day somebody was asking me like, oh, there's white people or white looking people complected in Mexico. I'm like,
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you go to Jalisco, you go to Monterrey, you just straight up look like there's like Caucasian people, like straight
Correct.
up. There's like, but they've been there forever.
It's the Anglo-Saxon mix in there. Yeah, I definitely get that a lot.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I mean, you're just like, hey, surprised. Start talking Spanish.
I was running into this two couple. They do accounting, CPAs, and the husband looked very güerito, straight up. So we just got in conversation. They gave me the cards and the last name I realized. Like, so we start talking. Oh yeah, some Latinos. And then like shortly after, we were just in conversation still. And he said that he gets that a lot, but sometimes he gets to where he goes to a place. There's like the workers are working around, and all of a sudden like, how was I viendo el güero? And then he'll be like, ¿Dónde? Right. So all of a sudden they look like, what the heck?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and then he just starts laughing, like makes a joke out of it.
For sure. And
but I think it's hilarious.
That's what's fun about it, right? Like you can play with it, and I never try to like entrap anybody and be like, hey, let's see what they're gonna say around me before I crack and say, hey, I can understand, but no.
Yeah, that's true.
It's fun.
But I thought it's hilarious when he said that. I was like, oh my God. You can only see their faces.
Yeah.
Like, there. Like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so your beginnings, you were originally from Mexico? Monterrey?
Born and raised.
Yep. Okay, how was life, the earliest memories that you could think of back in Monterrey that you like kind of sort of go back whenever you want to reminisce about how life was in Monterrey? Can you tell me what that was like?
Yeah. It was a lot of family around. It was very, you felt like you belonged, right? And you felt like you had a community around you. Maybe me in particular, I grew up in an area where we had a lot of houses in the same compound, I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was gated, but family. So when you grew up, it was like your cousin was there, your grandma was there. And so I felt like I was very surrounded by loved ones all the time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How was your kind of sort of your day? Did you go to school? You kind of sort of, went and helped at work? Or was it like that you used to do back there?
Yeah, so I learned English in school.
Oh, wow.
So I think it was the best of both worlds. I'm very grateful for that, and I appreciate that I got the experience to learn that early on. So it was all English school, come back home, and obviously your life is all in Spanish. So I got to essentially adopt that, both languages and cultures too, because that school happened to have children from different sorts of the parts of the world as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I never heard of an actual school all English in Mexico. Are they very typical around Monterrey? Or?
There's some. Yeah, that one was called the American School Foundation.
The American
in Monterrey.
School Foundation.
They're still there from what I heard. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And it's very inclusive, so I feel like that. I like the fact that it was, it was exposure to a lot of differences.
When was it that you kind of sort of realized that you were kind of getting English? Like you were kind of more, like you got, like for example, for me, I go back to a time where, like I was thinking in English. I caught myself thinking in English.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shoot, I know English.
Yeah, I think it took until I moved here. Because I remember looking back at my work, my schoolwork, and I saw all the errors I've made in English.
Yeah.
And so I'm starting to realize, like, when we started to move, I really started to really think more in English. And I look back, I was like, wow, like just in 4th grade, I was full on like Hispanic mode, right? Or like Mexican mode.
Yeah.
And then now most closer to like the end of elementary, start of middle school, it was very much like already English mode. So I think it really took that move to start like almost permanently thinking that way.
Yeah. That's true. Any other memory that really brings you joy whenever you go back and think about your childhood when you were growing up in Mexico? Anything that stands out?
The nature.
I
love it.
Yeah.
I think that's what I miss about it here.
Yeah, I have a freaking very famous La Montaña.
La Sierra Madre.
La Sierra Madre, which is very, very known.
Yeah.
I used to go often, visit, walk around. I don't know if it was any hiking or any of those, camping, things like that.
It was a lot of hiking. I think it was every week, from what I remember, once a week.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're right. It's well known, and I think those are the treasures that Mexico has.
Yeah.
In the end of the day, like, I love all the treasures that country provides.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember, what's available, what's out there.
Okay, so make your way over here to the U.S. How old were you when you got here?
9.
9 years old. What makes your family take the decision to come to the U.S.? What was things not working out over there? Was there more opportunities here?
Yeah.
How do you make your way over here?
I would say the latter. Yeah, there's opportunity, and I mean back then there was a lot of concerns politically, environmentally, and so family had already started to make moves, and I think you don't feel pressured, but I think you feel like it's the right thing to stay close to family, which is what I grew up with. So I think the comfortability of being closer to family, seeking new opportunity, I would say would give credit to that move.
Okay.
100%.
So you get here, for example, my story was I crossed illegally. I was 11 years old. My parents got a tanda, brought my sisters and I over with another people's papers, crossed over the river, ran under a fence, waited a little longer for the migra wasn't chasing us, went to the hotel, couldn't turn on the shower to save my life, try to take a shower because I never had a shower in my life before when I was from.
Yeah.
Then we went on a plane and landed in Texas, and that was it.
Wow.
So that's all I knew. Now other people make it any other way. Unfortunately, my parents didn't. We come from a very small town, very humble beginnings, very little money.
Yeah.
To do it and pay or whatever businesses, that just wasn't an option, right? But that was my way of getting here.
Yeah.
How would you say was your way to getting here?
I was definitely more privileged.
Okay.
I think I really have to look back and say how fortunate I was. And it's almost like I want to remind myself of that opportunity that I had, because it's just so hard nowadays. And obviously in today's political environment, more now than ever, it's getting to the point where those things, I always remind myself, right, when those things come up, it's like, wow, like it's not easy. And I think it helped my grandmother was an American citizen. And so for me, that did help pave the way. From what I remember, I think George Bush had a rule, a law where the grandfather clause, and if one of your grandparents was a citizen, that made it a lot easier.
Okay.
So that, I will say, that helped. Shout out to grandma.
Absolutely.
It was smooth. It was a transition where they made, my parents, shout out to them too, for making it very easy on us, because I extra info here, my parents were divorced as well, and so it was my mom who we had to go with, and that made it hard, but they made it seem like seamless.
That's awesome.
So I think the fact that they pulled that off, and my grandmother was there to help.
Yeah.
She lived in the RGV for her whole life. She still lives there.
Rio Grande Valley for the ones that don't know what RGV.
Yeah. So I think that helps a lot, and that transition almost unnoticeable. It was like, hey, we're just moving transitioning to something else, and it's going to be great.
How do you feel about the things that are happening currently, 2025 June, or the way that everything's happening in the news? If you care to contribute anything based on just your personal feelings, your opinions in regards to what's going on right now currently with immigration in general.
Yeah, it's disturbing. And there's a question that I tend to have in my head every time. It's like, what is the meaning of belonging? And I feel like I'm seeking that answer, because that's what's out there right now. Like, who gets to decide who belongs? And that, I think that is something that I wish we could answer sooner than later, because of what's going on and the uneasiness of everything that's happening. I feel like there's so much great things that comes out of it, but we decide to focus on the negative things and maybe run with that because of some agenda. I just know that this shouldn't really happen. You know, like, we've been doing this we're all immigrants. I mean, not to throw stats out there, but I was reading recently that out of all the population in the U.S., nearly 50 million people are immigrants living here right now. So it's like, shouldn't we all realize that we're from everywhere, right? Like, at this point, looking at how many people truly live everywhere.
It's the inception of this country.
Yeah.
There was only a few that were here originally.
Yes.
There was terrible things that happened to them when they were originally here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody else, they were from another place.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Some people don't see it that way anymore because of the way they look, and all of a sudden they're 7, 8 generations, and they don't even realize that their parents came from Germany. Their great-great-great-parents came from Ireland. Even the Irish had an issue with a lot of people didn't want Irish for a long. You know, all of us, if you look back at your ancestry, at one time or another, they were persecuted for whatever reason, because they were coming in and they were new and nobody wanted you here.
Yeah.
Now, 5, 6 generations later, all of a sudden, now we forgot that had happened to your grandparents. But it's just the decisions like your grandparents made to better life for us.
Totally.
And now we're benefiting from it. You know what I mean?
And we didn't touch upon the people who already were here.
Yeah.
Before the country was created. So it's like, it can go so deep. And
absolutely.
It's just really wild to think about.
Well, we're going to make it for the better.
Yes.
That's the reason why we have a platform like this, and that's the reason why other people are speaking out, for the same reason that we are, whether you want it or not, the immigrants, not only just Mexicans, not only just the South Americans, but any other country, are the backbone of this community, of this whole United States that keeps it functioning. No matter how much more other people keep screaming on a big, loud speaker that they're not,
right.
You're wrong. We are it.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. It's projected to be like that in the near future.
Absolutely.
They're just prolonging what's going to be inevitable, which eventually is there's going to be more immigrants than anything else. So
right.
That's just what it is.
It's almost unstoppable, right? It's like a chain event.
I just feel like they're trying to delay, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You already let us in.
Well,
we're not going back out.
Yeah. And there's so many benefits too.
Yeah,
we can sit here and talk about how beneficial it is to have, influx. I was thinking about population the other day. Some countries are struggling with population to upkeep that. We need people to live here. We need that influx, and we need to repopulate because of the natural phenomena of sustaining a population.
Yeah, that's crazy, because some people, for whatever reason, it's controversial that we're overpopulating the planet, but it's the opposite.
Yeah, there's countries out there that are actually on a heavy decline. They don't know what to do about it. I think Japan is number one.
Might need to make our way over there.
Yeah, right.
You're right.
They're going to start promoting.
Hey, what's up? Free citizenship.
Right.
Nos vemos.
Hey, that might be something we need to talk to Japan about.
Hey, bring us in, bro. Yeah, us together, both DNAs combined, bro.
They've got good food. They got tofu.
Man,
so
just saying, man, the things we can do, probably. All right, so once you get here to the U.S., you go to school like regularly. Anything that stands out as you're going to school that might draw your attention a little bit more, that you like maybe get into, like to get into? Anything that stands out to you?
Being athletic. Like staying up with, I think it helped with the nature. When I was younger, I was always doing like riding my bike or something, or doing, I should have said a sport. So staying athletic, performing some sort of sport.
Yeah. What was your sports to go to?
I tried a couple of things when I was like all the way from when I was young to maybe high school, you should say. And it wasn't like, I dropped it frequently. So I feel like I was still searching for something that I liked. Biking, I love biking, but it wasn't like a real sport. And then I found crew, which is rowing. I don't know if you've...
Yeah.
So the big, long boat, about 4 to 8 people
Yep.
usually. really light, carries a lot of weight, and that was what I did from freshman to high school.
Wow, here in Texas?
Here in Texas,
Wow.
I was the captain of the team, and then I went all the way to nationals. Didn't win, but we got pretty close. So the fact that we made it was an anomaly, given that like this sport is not as popular in the state. It takes a lot of support.
How do you discover it? Who
I know.
introduced you to it?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think it was just the school that I went to that offered it. And I'm like, hey, this is different. It's not like your standard football guy, you know? Like I think I was really in tune with people who were a little different. Like they weren't your status quo person. Like that guy does football or whatever. And so I met a lot of friends, and I think I got to meet people who were really interesting and just, hey, by the way, I do crew, or like, hey, there's this cool sport. Have you tried that? It's like, oh, I didn't know about it until you told me.
Yeah. Did you know how to swim?
I did.
Yeah.
I did a little swimming, actually.
Is it a kind of like requirement to do the sport? Not necessarily.
No.
Not really?
No.
Okay, so once you get into it in the first few days, is it like love at first sight, or was it like after a few times like, this is freaking awesome?
Yeah.
It is a sport where I can feel it all over my body.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely, you have to love it at first.
Nice.
I mean, you can try it, but if you don't love it right away, try something else.
Awesome. So you went and attend college,
yes,
correct?
Yes, I did.
Where did you attend to remind me again?
Yeah.
And the degree that you were pursuing?
University, Arkansas, in Fayetteville.
Yeah.
I did a business degree and a minor in Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once you're doing that, do you kind of sort of see your career path going a certain direction at that time with the degree? Are you in your mind, are you kind of sort of envisioning where you want to go into? Or is real estate anything that's popping up right now that might somebody introduce you to that it could be something you could do?
Yeah, it actually never was. My current career was never in my sight during college.
Okay.
It was like completely opposite of what I even thought I would do.
What you thought you were going to do?
I was leaning more towards either more like a regular business, maybe entrepreneurial, like something to do with starting a business myself.
Any particular type of business that you had in mind?
No niche, just sales, marketing, but not an actual company with a product or a service. I didn't really, like, I think in that school they offer you a lot of opportunities, like Walmart is based out of Fayetteville or Bentonville, and then you have JB Hunt Transportation. So those jobs are, I think, available to a lot of students, but it wasn't something that was like, hey, I'm really excited to do this. It was never really the finance. It was more just like the marketing, the sales, being on the ground, selling something, right? I ultimately chat a lot. I talk, maybe you can tell by now. And so I think I fell right into the role of sales. I did sales pretty much since I was 16.
Wow. Yeah,
just selling whatever I could, either, online or just at a small gig that I got. And
was there any particular things that you used to sell at gigs?
Well, smaller things would be just like items. Like I was great at Craigslist when it was first a big thing. Then we have Facebook Marketplace, which is kind of cool. But so I also went into the alcohol business. So that was my first like big job out of college. And it was all sales.
What was it exactly?
It was territory management. So you had to sell your alcohol product into bars or into like grocery stores. I learned that it wasn't for me on the long run, specifically for the health.
Okay.
I was also, we can talk about some other stuff too later, but I also wasn't feeling good. I had like digestive challenge that I was going through, and I didn't know about it until later. Like that actually surfaced later on after that job. Okay. And I realized, alcohol's not good for it. But
did it entail you having to consume more than your regular person because of what you were doing?
Yes. I mean, I'm not super against it or anything. I think it's, with weddings, things like that. I'll drink beer once in a while, but it wasn't something I wanted to do every day. Gotcha. Or like be around it, or because there was a lot of marketing opportunities that maybe you were selling it and it was the middle of the week, and you're like trying to sample a product with the vendor or something. It was always around you. And I didn't like the idea of that. And then also with the health challenge that I had, I found it that it would never have been very beneficial to have it around me. Okay.
Before we get to how you got into real estate,
sure.
How was your entire college experience? How did you like it? Did you learn? Did you feel like it was beneficial because of this, because of that?
Yeah, I think it brought different things than I expected. So it was beneficial, but I think ultimately it made me realize that it's more than just going to read a book or a textbook, right? And learning from a person teaching you in the class. it made me realize and learn that there's, networking skills. There's teamwork skills. There's just way more beyond going to take a test. So I think being around different people and the types of people that I met and the hobbies, activities, the conversations that I had, the actual merging of those people and during that time made me, I think, the person today.
Do you think the school that you went to learn English kind of sort of helped you prepare to go to college because you kind of sort of were immersed in different cultures and different people from different walks of life?
I think so.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got a head start.
Okay, so you leave sales. I don't know if you get into any other job.
COVID hit. So that was difficult.
That was the break you needed.
Yeah.
Is that the time that you kind of sort of learn about veganism because of the things that are going on with your stomach? You kind of sort of seeing options?
Yes.
Okay.
It was just the perfect storm. You can talk about COVID bringing diseases, right? Like there was the time where, hey, it's relatable because certain things can cause pandemics.
Right.
It was the time where I left an industry that was exacerbating an issue. And it was the time where, just in general, I really needed that healing. So it was definitely the perfect time for me to have that sort of, wow, I fully understand it now.
Like for me, my story is with becoming plant-based vegan is that I had slowed down for the past 2 months because every day was Taco Tuesday for me.
Yeah.
But I had slowed down and I would get the little patties and mix it with my rice and with my quinoa and take it to work, for my lunch and stuff like that. And that's how during the weekend I indulge in some tacos. Yeah. And then one weekend it just didn't work anymore. I was working as an MC at a club. We used to have tacos at the end when we were done. Tacos was great, by the way. The gentleman cooks amazingly. But that day I just wasn't feeling it anymore. So I told the girl that usually gives me the taco order, like, hey, you want tacos? I was like, nah, I'm good. And it's like, kind of joked around. That's in dieta. Like, you're in a diet. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, well, just give me 2. Yeah. She got me 4. And I ate them. And I was forcing myself to eat them. Yeah. And I remember as I was chewing them, there was a feeling of guilt that went from my mind, my head, to my stomach. And then even though we left the club by 3 o'clock, I went to the gym early. I woke up like at 9. I swear I was in the sauna for like hour and a half or 2 hours. Yeah. And I was feeling like the stuff was coming out of my pores.
Yeah. It hits
and
you.
I got a disgust feeling like you will never believe. Like whatever you think you don't like, you're grossed about, that's the feeling that I got, the same thing. And it has never left me. And that's the reason why I could never go back. And that's what I'm saying. Whenever I say it chose me, I wasn't choosing to change it. It just so happened to be that's the case. And I couldn't go back even if I wanted to. Yeah. It makes me, it really disgusts me. It sounds like I'm a freaking, like a brat. No, but it really gives me a disgust feeling and I can't turn back. Yeah. That's how it happened to me.
No, I love that.
So with you, is that you just trying to kind of sort of slow down, change it a little bit, or do you just go cold turkey and full blast on veganism? Get on Google, ChatGPT, whatever you have available, try to figure it out?
Yeah, it was expedited for me. And I think it was because of that health gut issue and challenge that I was going through, and I did a lot of research, and I was like, well, why is this happening to me, right? I'm 20.
Did you thought about going to the doctors, have them check you out, or not really care for it?
Yes, and I do believe that medical intervention is really, really amazing and necessary at times. And I've had that before, right? Like I've had that help. But also, I feel like there isn't as big of a promotion for it as it should be. Like, hey, you should live a healthier lifestyle. If it is, there's a lot of leniency on it. And so I found that, going through my research, one day I realized that, hey, I could find relief transitioning to a more plant-based lifestyle, vegan lifestyle. So for me, honestly, it was more, I did it because of health. But I will say it transitioned later on into more like I'm doing it for the welfare of animals, our Mother Earth, nature, the environment, right? Other people too, our kids, our children that are going to grow up in this world that are going to enjoy these things that we have today. I mean, we're just travelers here. We're just here in time. And then later on, we're not here forever.
Right.
So that mentality, I was just really grateful that, yes, it started with one thing for health and nutrition, but it ended up being, now I'm doing it for every reason, like your physique, right? Like health and your welfare and all the other stuff. And that, I'm just glad it started with one thing and it led me to the ultimate big picture.
How many years now have you been plant-based vegan?
I think now, I always remember, like, I stick it to my birthday just to kind of keep count.
Uh-huh.
I think 6 now.
Oh, wow.
I've double checked that.
Wow.
Like around 2020. So yeah, almost 6 years.
Almost 6 years
Yeah,
you're going
yeah.
into.
Yeah, my fiance, she's been also, plant-based, so that helps.
That's awesome.
And we're both in the same, around timeline, so it's cool to like keep track of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I arrived there. And I'm glad that we can all arrive to the same point, even though it comes from different things.
Right.
If you want to look chiseled and eat really healthy and your body or whatever, that's great. We're still, I think, fighting for the same cause. We're still in the end game. It's the same outcome, and you're doing good things for everybody, even if you don't realize it.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love it that either way, either story, we always end up in sort of a good outcome.
Yeah. What is the most, I guess you could say, worst disagreement that you ever had with somebody? Do you even partake
besides the protein?
Besides the protein, do
Yeah.
you ever even partake to try to entertain a conversation with somebody and like they maybe try to attack you because you're this and that? Or you're like, okay, bro, whatever you say.
Yeah.
Or whatever, sis, whatever you say is cool with me.
Yeah, I think at first it was more brutal, and I didn't know how to defend my points, or I didn't know how to express my opinion as
Right.
well. I didn't have any knowledge besides I read it online. But when you actually start to get your sources and look at it, then you can maybe present some people with actual facts from accredited sources,
Yeah.
scholarly articles, things like that. Then you try to really talk more intellectually. But yes, there has been times where I had to kind of, we had to part ways, and we didn't agree ultimately.
Yeah.
And actually, now that you ask, it was hard with family up front at the beginning.
Really?
Very hard, because you're living with them. I was still kind of transitioning out of the house,
Mhm.
and it was very hard to like not have them do what I do.
Yeah.
But I only lead by example. That's what I learned. And it took me a while to get to that mindset where it was like, don't tell other people what to do. Because
Yeah,
that
that's
led
true.
to fighting.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
now it was like, hey, look at me, I'm healthy. Or hey, like my gut condition is doing really well. And they're like, oh, I wonder why. It's like, well, I started eating my veggies, Mom. Like you always wanted me to.
You know what's crazy for me? My mom, she didn't really care.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, she cared in the sense that like she would just cook
Mhm.
with like she knows to cook separate from me, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Nobody else like joked about it. Like, oh well, now you're not eating meat anymore.
That's
Like,
cool.
That's it.
I love that.
It was just that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you want to do? I can't help it. I
Yeah.
told you, I didn't pick it.
I wish it was like that for everybody. I'm really.
But I wasn't living with them either, too.
Yeah.
So I can see how that could be.
Yeah.
Because she's cooking for everybody, except
Absolutely.
for one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see that.
I like your mom.
So, okay, but that's one part, right?
Yeah.
You also do the other part in regards to, because one thing is the diet, but you also stay active, right?
Mhm.
You hike, you do different things, you go and stay active.
Mhm.
You think that also contributed to your health as far as the gut and all that part to be
Yeah.
able to, of course, stop alcohol.
Yeah.
Every so often have a drink or two, but
Sure.
now you're more active, you quit a little bit more alcohol, and now you're doing better for yourself.
Sure. Absolutely. I believe that it's actually a things, in collection of things. It's not
Mhm.
just one thing.
Right.
And that actually also took a while. So it's cool how this all developed.
Right.
It's not just one day you wake up and you know everything. It took probably up to 2-3 years, even halfway through my journey, to realize that what you just said, it's exercise, it's eating right, it's your mind, your health, your mental health, it's community, it's purpose.
Right.
I mean, all those things will really, I think, give you that outcome. But you can't say just, eating plant-based is going to heal you.
Yeah.
It's not a pyramid either. It's just a circle of things that you have to have. And ultimately, I think that's obviously that's what I believe. But if you really want to look into it, there is the thing called the blue zones. I don't know if you've heard about it.
No, I've not.
There's a lot of documentaries, things like that, and they all kind of preaching to the choir. I already knew some of these things, but the blue zones gave me the thought of, hey, it's also your lifestyle.
Right.
Not just lifestyle eating, but like what you do every day. Are you sentient? Like, or are you, sitting down, right? Are you walking? Like, what are you doing every day? And what are you striving to do in your life? And they covered purpose. And I think that was like, whoa, that was something that it could be religion. It could be a lot of your community that you belong in. It's just those things I never thought of. I was so honed in on like the eating well, maybe working out. but it's a collection of things that I think are so important to get that result.
Yeah, I need to get that from you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's segue into purpose.
Okay.
Now, since you talked about it,
Mm-hmm.
now you're doing real estate.
Yeah.
How does the opportunity come about? Who tells you about it? And then once you get into it, I don't know if you went into with the same idea that you're doing it now, or somewhere doing your travels, all of a sudden you learn, oh, this is something with a purpose that I can do to help people that are looking for something.
Sure. Yeah, it was during somewhat halfway through COVID, right? And it was a post I saw on Facebook about some real estate work, and I didn't have my license, but my mom actually saw it. It was a friend of hers, like, hey, just go check it out, see what it leads to. And then that friend said, go get your license, and maybe you can help me do some work.
Yeah.
I didn't know all of the opportunities or everything that real estate had to offer or what it was all about, but I just knew it was like real estate, homes, right? I mean, it could be very, very simple, or like commercial properties, right? But I think after that initial conversation, I shifted full-time real estate, had my license, essentially went out, started buying, selling homes with clients, renting too. I do all sorts of, activities. And then I realized the power that comes with real estate, not just in terms of how maybe you could shape the neighborhood, but to bring a family together and create an opportunity to live somewhere, or a community, right? You can shape real estate into a form where it generates, it promotes community. I think found the passion in knowing that you could be a part of that, and you can provide opportunity, or you can shape the world around you. I know people who are just so deep into it that they become leaders for the city, because you can decide what real estate is formulated around the city to promote certain things like walking or safety, for cars and pedestrians. So I think it's so involved, it's so integrated into our society that real estate is kind of, all around you. It's always with you. It shapes our world. And so
what year was it into real estate that you kind of sort of started realizing more of the importance of that part, the community part, the building, pretty much everything around us, but other people just focusing on making the sales or whatever, but your focus is more like, man, this is something that could be built up to be something amazing.
Yeah, I would say about a year ago even, that recently. I've only been doing it for 4 years, but the first 3 years, it's a lot of learning. You learn, and you go through a lot of hardship, because it could take a year for you to get your first sale. And so all those years of just kind of sharpening your sword and getting ready for your future business, then I started to realize, okay, this is pretty powerful if you get to actually pursue certain things specifically in real estate. But ultimately, the outcome is great too. Yeah, I think I love seeing the rewards that come with it, and I mean that by like helping people.
Yeah. What is the difference between yourself and other real estate agents? Because all of them,
Yeah.
I'm not knocking on y'all. I'm just saying a lot of them want to do and stand out differently than everybody else, right?
Yeah.
Because the same thing, you do have to stand out in order to be able to be more appealing to people that want to buy. And of course, your network also and things like that. But I know that you're more of the type that likes to hone relationships and not just the transaction. When was it that you realized that part was essential? Did college kind of help you out because you discovered that networking kind of helped out? Or was there another place where you found that building relationships will benefit you in the long run, especially in real estate? I
think the job's right out of college, because sales carries this, I think, stigma of, people calling you on your phone. You're like, whatever, I don't want to, deal with somebody randomly calling me. So I think, like you said, less transactional, more relationship, more treating people like they're actual people and humans, and this is going to affect their life, and a big decision like this especially really shapes, I think, the mindset of how you do business. And with the previous sales, I had to think that way. I had to kind of instinctually not just ask for business out at the door. I had to really work with people. Not that I had to, but I wanted to become friends with them, because I knew what it could lead to, like a potential sale, but also a good friend. And these are people around my community too. I mean, I do business here locally. I also do business a little bit further out. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be around some of these clients that I meet. Imagine if I'm doing things shady, or if I'm just doing it to get a commission, it's like I'm going to be somebody's neighbor at some point, I feel like. I mean, I do business next door.
Right.
Literally my neighbor's house. So things like that you have to realize how impactful it can be to other people and how, that is going to be viewed on you later on.
Is that one of the things that you feel sets you apart from different realtors that you run into that you might have talked about, seen, know how they do business?
Sure thing. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of shady things that happen outside of real estate too, but specifically agents that I wish, would have more check on how things are done in their end. But yeah, I think I have the integrity and I have the real value of bringing an actual process that doesn't just give you a house. It gives you clarity. It gives you comfortability and trust and everything that goes along with what you want to have in a big purchase like that. Just a little bit more confidence and a better outcome than just, hey, I'm your realtor, I'm going to do what I can. But generally, there's a sense of, well, where's the best interest, me or for that person to get paid? So I think money at the very end, it's not even a thought up front. It's more just like, how can I help somebody? And whatever reward comes later, I'm grateful for it. And I appreciate that is rewarded. But to focus on what's more important up front, I think is what sets me apart, because it shows. And whatever you start saying, whatever you do in your behavior or your actions, it's what people are going to notice right off the bat. Right.
Was there any particular house that you sold or a house that you found for a customer that kind of sort of stands out more than any other ones? And why did it stand out more? What happened at that time that you kind of sort of made you feel a little bit more special than the other ones for right now?
Okay. I think the first one.
Yeah.
It's cool that it's the first one too, but shout out to my clients, Tony and his wife. And they actually, they were working with someone else. They had a very bad experience.
Oh.
And so those, not the steal business, but like those experiences are interesting because it's like, why are they coming to me? I mean, they already have somebody. And to learn from that, right? To understand why like that happened. And then I say, oh, I can do better. Or, hey, I will take care of you. Like, you don't have to worry about whatever happened. That, I think when they bought their house, they were so grateful that they had the ability to do it because they're also first-time home buyers. And I think that really showed a lot. That it's like, hey, this is a real person that actually like appreciated what happened to them, and it shows because you took care of them, not because you just wanted to put them in a house. Like, it just really hit home, and it was cool that it was the first one because first-time home buyer. I was able to negotiate, I guess, a pretty good deal for them too. And ultimately just the outcome was so great that I saw their expression and I saw even today, they're like, how are you doing?
What was the feeling immediately? Like whenever all the last page of the 100 million pages that you have to sign.
It was relief because I think they were trying to for a while. And I know how frustrating it is when even systems like our systems out there are forcibly they're used against people sometimes because of limits that we have. And so I was relieved that they were actually able to attain that opportunity. Like, we got them in a home that they actually wanted, and all due to the team that they had behind them, a good realtor, the lender, the people who actually worked the title and everything. So the team effort and the fact that, even today they still keep in touch.
That's awesome.
It shows that they're grateful for it, and I appreciate them. So
absolutely, because some of these relationships could be, they say they outgrow their house.
Yes,
they have kids and everything. Now they have to move on to something bigger, or they want to scale up, and then they're ready to make that one rentable, and then they want to move on to another.
They'll refer you. Which happens a lot in real estate. I do a lot of referral business.
Awesome.
So I would say the more integrity you have, the more actual, actions that you do, and you stick to that action. You don't just talk about it. People will notice, and they will reward you for that. They'll say, I can trust this guy.
Have you gotten to the point now in your career where you already know when the customer walks to the house if that's it or not? You can start hearing a few cue things that are like, oh, this is it. This is the one.
Yes. Yes. I have a couple experiences like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Because a couple of realtors that I talked to here in the podcast, whenever they start saying this, oh, look, this will be great for the children. Oh, look, this is great for whenever we're going to have our Sunday dinner.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you're like, it's a done deal. You found the one for them,
Yes.
and that's it.
Yes. A lot of ladies out there, and they're always like, "This is the one." And then hubby's like, I want what you want to be happy as well." And I'm like, "Okay, I think this is it." So if the ladies are happy, I feel like it's a good indication. We want everyone to feel comfortable, obviously, but there's definitely those feelings you get where it's like, "Oh my gosh."
That's awesome.
Right
Whenever you found, I don't know if you've changed from brokers to the one you're currently with,
Yes.
but what was it that you found appealing this time with this broker to work with? Was there anything particular that enticed you more than anything? Maybe they were more helpful in regards to the education. Maybe they had other programs. What was it that you kind of like with the current broker that you're working with right now?
Yeah, a good question. So I did start with another one, and that one provided a lot of education, like you said, a lot of, hey, if you're just starting out, we'll provide you with support, etc., resources. This one, I think for me, had the professionalism, and it had the history and what it means to be a part of Christie's International Real Estate, which is who I'm. That I think is very impactful because the reputation of that company is what really makes people comfortable knowing like, oh, okay, if this company really stands for that, then I know I'm being taken care of. So I think it isn't, yes, there's image to it, but at the end of the day, it's what they've done to be where they're at today. And I use that to the advantage, saying, look, I'm a part of this because I believe in who they are. And if you allow me to service you and with that belief in mind, with the white glove service, let's call it, that's who I want to be a part of, and that's who you get to be a part of as well. That's the service that you're going to get when you work with me.
So whenever anybody was to reach out to you, we want to put your contact on social media. Sure. This is what they're expecting to get.
Absolutely.
One of the most important words that I learned in my military career was integrity. And a lot of people don't realize how the importance of it is, because it's even when nobody's watching that you want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
When did that word come around for you and you realize the importance, and that's how you want to do business?
Integrity?
Yes.
I would say probably at the very beginning of my first job, because I, not to have like alliances, but I was very attached to like a manager that I worked with, and the trust that happened between those people, I learned to really respect and have that with them, because I knew that led me towards a greater opportunity. And so learning to be a person of integrity and trustful and all that was sort of something that I early on said, this is something I really need to keep doing, because it's sort of a tool that you could, use in your pocket, and saying, well, I mean, people want that. So ultimately, pretty early on in my sales career.
Okay, let's touch up on a few things that people can be on the lookout for. As you mentioned, unfortunately, we are people, not necessarily realtors, but in general people, and people tend to have their own agendas for whatever reason to do best for themselves and not the client, or not mutual, to where both parties benefit. What can people be on the lookout to, let's say, a red flag for a particular realtor that has a great mouthpiece, really good at talking to you, but all of a sudden now there's a few things that you might be on the lookout for, that it might be a headache later down the line on your transaction? I want to say transaction. I know it's not. It is kind of, but at the end of the day, it's one of the biggest transactions you're ever going to have. What could that be?
I think the feeling of being rushed, and I actually almost felt that I was falling victim of that, because I had one person and I was like, hey, what's your feedback? And they're like, hey, if you could improve on one thing, just do a little bit of like, don't rush too much during a showing or something. And after that one time, I learned to be like, okay, let's stick around in an hour if we have to, but not being pushy, and having the client speak their opinion, and not, yes, I will say things that concern me, and I'll tell you that right away. But I think listening more than talking is what's really important. Someone who's just talking and kind of feels pushy, and it feels like
salesy.
Yes, and just forced. And again, being pushed towards something just because, hey, we've been looking for a year. It's like, so? That doesn't mean you can ruin someone's financial decision, or potentially lead them to something that could have been known or saved from. It's a very delicate matter.
Is there any particular markets that you would want to stay away from per se, or not necessarily? It just the client wants to go to this particular neighborhood. Maybe it's not the greatest neighborhood, but the pricing right now especially seems like it looks kind of appealing. Maybe the neighborhood is going to be improving here in the next few years because people are moving in, different businesses. Do you care for that necessarily, or you trying to maybe steer them a different direction if that's what they want because their budget is, unfortunately, the way that the houses are right now. Right. That's where he's at. That's what they want to do. Are you okay with that?
I can't steer anybody.
Okay, gotcha.
But the words I'll use is I will make suggestions.
Okay, gotcha.
And so every time I work is by recommendation. We're not lawyers, we don't have that kind of ability to make an actual legal opinion, right?
Gotcha.
But I will recommend you certain things that I think are correct for your situation or your, criteria.
Is there anything in particular right now that is kind of trendy? Because I know sometimes in the real estate, there's a few trendy things, whether it would be the appraiser not doing the right thing, the inspector maybe not doing their job to the fullest. Is there anything trendy right now on the market per se that people need to be on the lookout for, or not necessarily?
Yes. I think it has to do with what you're asking for too, like things I would stay away from. So it isn't so much people doing shady things and it's happening. I mean, I will say you can get an inspection all day long, but there's always going to be something that may not be uncovered because it happens, right? It's the risk that you have buying a house or a property. I will say I've had a lot of trouble with condominiums. I have my opinion on it, and I also have an opinion of, hey, it's fine for certain situations, but condominiums carry HOAs. Same with other properties in the suburbs.
I stay away from HOAs. Right. You can watch all the TikTok videos you want. I can see the function of them, but I really don't.
There's some that are okay. I mean, they're like $24 a month, maybe a year.
For the first year.
Yes, or to just at least keep up with the signage or whatever. Very simple. I mean, I know some that are okay, but condominium complexes, they carry more risk. And that's insurance, and that is, other, they're just higher density.
The bylaws, the condo, the insurance, the renter's insurance.
Restrictions.
All
just
kinds
restrictions.
Of stuff. That too.
Yeah. So I would say the issue for me is they're rising too quickly. And they just can't keep up with certain older properties. So when you look at a condo that's built in 1970 or whatever, their insurance premiums are really high. And I'm not talking about like your home insurance, which you and I can pay. I'm talking about the blanket insurance that goes on the whole property.
Building.
The pool, the building, the whatever.
Common areas, all that.
Yes. There's very little insurance providers that I've heard in this area that are insuring properties of those years. They're earlier, not as young, right? So that's an issue. It's something that I have to like properly recommend people to really look into it. I've walked away from deals like that because thankfully an agent with integrity and actually disclosed it and did the right thing. She goes, hey, we lost, or we decided to cancel. They canceled the deal with us because they found out that the insurance payment that the HOA took care of on the $360 a month HOA is now directly going to be passed on to the buyer or the owner. And so that $360 HOA a month was now almost like $450, $500 a month. So and then we're just like, wait a minute. So this is our budget and this is our new HOA. Why aren't we buying a house for that much a month? Those things, and I mean, not to mention like the risk that can happen, by living in it and whatever special assessments come up. I was just like, okay, let's reconsider our options.
Okay, let's go back to the inspection part because I had a friend. She didn't tell me I was okay and not talked about it, but I won't say names. But it's just something that happened to her purchasing a home, right?
Okay.
And I want your input in regards to if it's recommended or not recommended. She got a house. Inspection pointed out something regarding electrical. Then they presented to the seller. The seller hired contractor. Supposedly, the contractor gave a receipt that it was fixed.
Okay.
The buyer never went and re-inspected the work because they got a receipt saying that these things that were supposed to be taken care of regarding electrical was good to go.
Okay.
And, they went in, closed. A few months later now it's becoming an issue.
Okay.
She's starting to learn that maybe she should have had a re-inspection, even though it would have been a little bit more out of pocket, but minimum they could see that the work or the concerns were addressed.
Yeah.
Is that something that you recommend to re-inspect if something came up on the inspection that you want to get fixed before you close? or not necessarily? Or was her case a one-off?
I would say if it's a big job, yes.
It was a big job.
Yes. Because...
Well, the thing that they said,
Mhm.
because inspectors don't break it down to what it costs, right?
Yeah.
They say acronyms for this.
Yeah.
And a buyer this first time, I'm like, I don't know what that means. But sure, they say fix it, so it should
Yeah.
be good to go,
It depends on the workload of,
Mhm.
how big the project is. I would say yes if it's like a panel reinstall. So you're taking apart all the wires and you're putting, that's a hazard, right?
Something along
To
those
fix an
lines.
outlet, to change an outlet, okay, whatever. But I will say you also have certain rights, or I would say avenues to explore if that were to happen. So I don't know, in your case, it might be something different, or maybe I don't know about
It was panels.
panels.
And
Okay.
it's been weeks after the closing, months now.
Yeah.
So rescind time is over.
Yeah.
What are the recommendations for somebody that ran into that?
Okay. Well, I would say then it also can go back on the electrician, right?
I really think it was the contractor that signed
or
out
the contractor,
to be able to change this.
Yeah.
And said they did it.
Right.
And they didn't do the entire thing that they needed to do, and said that and presented it to the buyer and the seller, saying that it was done, and it was not done.
And that could also lie on the seller too. So if you're selling your house, be careful, because you want to disclose.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure your contractor does that work, because let's say that did happen, right? And the contractor did it, but the seller didn't know about it. That's another thing, right? Seller's like, okay, well, I didn't know about it. But if they did, and the contractor just took
They
a shortcut,
did in good faith. They
Uh-huh.
signed what was supposed to be fixed because the contractor said that
Right.
it was fixed.
so the seller thinks it got done.
Also,
I think then in good faith, the seller is like, okay, I'm sorry, and maybe we should pursue an avenue where the contractor is at fault, because
got you.
you have to disclose certain things that you know about.
Yeah.
How can I disclose something that I don't know about, like a
Right.
leaking wall behind, that I can't look behind there. So I would say then that's the contractor.
So
Yeah.
your recommendation, if it's gonna be big work,
Big work, yes.
re-inspect it
Absolutely.
to make sure that it was done, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
Because even the appraiser,
Yes.
whenever they did their part, they didn't kind of sort of see anything, reported anything in the report as far as
Yeah.
this being maybe an issue.
Better yet, put it in writing saying it must be re-inspected.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about how you word things as well.
Gotcha.
I think you got to be really careful on how you communicate. Hey, fix this. Okay. Get it fixed by a licensed electrician, and then get it inspected after that.
Mm.
That would have avoided everything.
Okay. There
Right.
you go.
Just a little
So
careful.
if you're a first-time home buyer, do your homework.
Yes.
You got ChatGPT, you got Google, you got all these other tools.
Interview good agents that may be aware and know these things.
Exactly.
And,
And then if you're really questioning something, find somebody that can, if for whatever reason your real estate agent is not able to help, look for somebody else that might be able to give you an answer.
absolutely.
So you can have a solid, especially being your home.
Yeah.
That's going to be your home.
A good agent will have good resources.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, we're running short on time. You did send me a few questions, which I did like. So
Okay.
with everything that you have around you,
Mhm.
all of the lives that you could have lived, how wonderful and special is this one for you right now?
I love that one.
Great questions, because I asked him and he gave me the question.
Yeah.
It's a great question, by the way.
No, yeah, thank you. So I think knowing where my life is at today, I'm so grateful that I'm living something that I thoroughly enjoy. That every day I wake up, I am representing like who I am and the actions that I do and fighting for the causes that I care about. It's hard to imagine another life to have that could have the same opportunities and things. You can look around us, you can look at everything going around that I know isn't very pretty, and certain unfortunate situations that I say I am so grateful for the life that I have today, to the point where I just can't even imagine living another life. I think the life that I have now is so special because I acknowledge that it is special, and that everything that I do is a joy.
I think another thing that makes you stand out is the things that you do in the marketing that you learn, that you actually implemented in the home, doing your own pictures and everything, or find the right photographer, videographer to kind of help you to, do better on that part.
Yeah.
And even show the house off as best possible.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, another question. He has some great questions. You should start a podcast. What is a topic that you're so fascinated about that you could literally teach a class about? Is there anything in particular that you're so freaking passionate about? It's just like anybody tells you, and your eyes light up that you just can't wait to spill your guts about everything.
I would hate to be cheesy and just put it on the whole plant-based stuff because, I mean, it is kind of true though. I will say it's probably that. Like, I love to cook too. We didn't touch too much about like me cooking, but I love to implement the plant-based style in a regular day-to-day basis. Mm-hmm. And at some point, my whole Instagram was about
food.
Yes. Yes. To the point where people were like, you should just transition to that. Like, just do more food and post about it. It's a little bit more about everything now, but right now it's the veggie realtor, So it's like, I do get really passionate about food and how you can shape it to be really good, even though it's not what you're used to.
Yeah.
Because the lifestyle I had and changed to can be crazy, can be different. But for the longest time, I think earlier on when I switched, I was doing a lot of more videos. Like, I went live and like, this is how you cook this. So I definitely am passionate about teaching others how to prepare and cook good meals on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, maybe during slow times you can still reviews,
sure.
Restaurant reviews,
Absolutely.
or just cook a recipe. Why not?
Yeah.
Get a little difference in your posting.
Yeah.
Of course you're gonna see the home, but
right.
You're gonna see some.
I
yummy
still
stuff
post
too.
a lot of stories.
That's
so every
awesome.
time I can, I'll just put it on the story.
Cool. Before I let you go, all your social media, do you have any kind of events happening, open houses that people we need to be aware of?
Sure.
Maybe in like 2 or 3 weeks
Sure.
that we can put.
My handle,
your Instagram handle, your social media handle, wherever we can find you, and also if you have events here in the near future, whether it be an open house in like 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe an event that you might be attending or being part of.
Yes, I will start a really good one soon. I have basically created a neighborhood cleanup day. So we're starting to implement a local impactful day for your local community. And if you're in the Oak Cliff area or Bishop Arts, I'm going to start there. I'm going to do it more frequently and start to maybe choose one day out of the week to go clean up the area and just essentially be a part of a beautiful, make our neighborhood more beautiful day.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. And then again, all your social media?
Yes, sorry.
Handle?
It's The Veggie Realtor. And if you want to follow my joint account with my fiance, who we're both realtors, it is Mr. and Mrs. Sold.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I like it. Saludos. Any shout outs that you have for anybody, people around you that stand out, mentors, your family in general, whatever you would like. Saludos.
Saludos, tal mi familia, my mom. I love everybody who has, shaped me to who I am today. And of course, the community and my friends around me, everybody truly that supports me and accepts me of who I am today.
Awesome. Normally, I think you touched on it earlier in regards to mortality. But normally when I wake up, but sometime during my day or my week, I remind myself I'm not immortal. I am mortal and I will die one day. I heard it from this guru gentleman. I really liked it. And to this day, I remind myself because it's true, right? It's not to scare me, terrorize me, or like, oh my God. But it's more like realize that it is life, that is part of life. And it's going to happen. And it makes me kind of sort of help me do stuff and stay doing things, that matter. With that, I wish you a very long, prosperous life. After everything's said and done, what do you want people to think and feel about your life?
That I made an impact in this world. That I actually lived a joyful life and I came here to make a difference for the better of the planet.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. What is an important lesson that you learned doing real estate that you will tell your younger self that will help somebody else out that's getting started in real estate? What would that be?
Can you rephrase it? Sorry.
Yeah. What is an important lesson that you learned doing real estate in your early years that you would tell your younger self, like when you first got started, that would really benefit somebody that's barely getting started in real estate that can help them out? What would that be?
I think would be to really hear people out and actually take in all those, their needs and desires. I mean, really consider the person as a person. And just essentially what I'm saying is hear people out. And the more you listen to people, I think the more answers you're going to find instead of trying to be the person who gets to decide. where they go, if that makes sense.
It's true. It's like the key to a real estate, not real estate, but a car sales agent. If a family comes in and they want a van and you want to put them in a 2-door, that's not what they ask.
Yeah.
As you're listening to the customer, like, we want a 2-story with maybe a pool and things like that. Yeah. That's what they're looking for, and that's what you're going to try to find. Not to like, well, this house is kind of sort of a little bit better value, but it doesn't have a pool. That's not what they asked. Yeah. You're not listening to what their needs are. They have it in their mind of what they want to do, and that's what they want. Sure. And if you're not listening to that, you're missing out on a great opportunity to be able to save yourself time to finding the right houses that you're looking for, to be able to take them, instead of like going to a million houses and finally the 1,000,001 house that you showed them because that's what they had told you originally, because you forgot to listen. Then it makes your life easier. That makes a lot of sense.
That and expectations, I should say as well. Like managing expectations, I would say.
Okay, tell me a little bit more about that. Elaborate on that part.
Sure. So let's say your client doesn't know much about it, and a certain situation happens, and then later on you have this result, and because you weren't upfront about certain things, or even just more informative of the way the process works, that could ultimately end in a great outcome, because your client knows exactly from day number one what to expect at day number 10 at closing or during inspection, right? So the expectations of what is going to happen during your journey, or say, hey, look, we're dealing with a couple of challenges here. These are the solutions we have. And so when we get to that point, we already know that. And we are just in a calm state, and we're not freaking out and running around and like, why is this happening? Well, we talked about it early on, and you handle those expectations early on with clients, and you're all in the same space. You're on the same page since day number one.
Whenever you run into something that you really don't know, because it's a one-off, really crazy stuff. Let's say, things like things that really don't come up. Yeah. And you don't know. Honestly, you don't know. Yeah. What is your best approach to tell the customer, and where do you go to your resources trying to find an answer for?
Number one, never answer with anything you're not sure about. And number two is, I'll find out for you. And
you'll have an answer.
Always be resourceful, because someone's going to know. And so for you to be the person that they can come to for help or for answers, you can provide that to them. You may not be the one to know, but you're also not going to be like, I know everything, sure, and then you misspeak and you say everything, and then it falls on you. That's a tough lesson to learn. And I've been there. I mean,
you'll get those refers too, or not get those refers.
Yes, exactly. It will show.
It will show.
But definitely just be resourceful, and that's a great thing to do.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for being here. Daniel, I appreciate you so much. The knowledge, the insights of certain things that maybe other people are not talking about, to be on the lookout for, and what they expect from whenever they get to somebody like you that's purchasing one of the biggest transactions they ever will probably have in their lifetime, and to be able to have somebody that's going to give them a white glove treatment, to be able to guide them the right direction. Sure. Even if you don't know the answer, you will get an answer for them to be able to. And then the fact that the bigger picture in regards to the community itself, right? Mm-hmm. What can it be? It's not a house. It's what else can be built around for the community itself. Exactly. And just your mind in regards to just the vegan lifestyle and the benefits that you do whenever you do that. It's not for everybody, but whenever you get your intentions to be able to do that, and you know that you're benefiting the community, or even bigger, in a bigger scale, without sometimes realizing, that's amazing. And without a shadow of a doubt, Daniel, you are a global Land Factor. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. This was another interview and another episode for the Global Land Factor podcast. Remember to subscribe right now. You have nothing to lose and lots to gain to this amazing knowledge of real estate from Daniel. And remember, we are just people. We are just like you. We are the spice and flavor in this melting pot that it is the world. Till next time, bye.